Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Hello and welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast. It is Music Month and I've got with me a new group of gal pals who just wanna girls just wanna have fun. First up, if you want to be her lover, you've got to get with her friends. It is Bonnie Fillinsworth. Bonnie, tell the good people what you've been up to lately.
I'm a visual artist. I do paintings of women throughout history. I've been working on Grace Murray Happer, and I just came out with some enamel pins.
Yes, you did. Pins.
Yes.
Oh, I love them. Did you like that I actually used a reference from the last time you were on Music Month when you said, I need to make sure Wannabe is on a playlist somewhere? There you go.
Grew up in the 90s, so I love me some Spice Girls.
Spice Girls, they spice up your life. I'm just saying. So next up, her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Damn right, it's better than yours. Katie Harris is back. That's right. So Katie, tell us about your newest adventures.
Oh, still working at my school and therapy center for kids with autism,
Sweet.
Trying to work on all of their vocational skills and build up our coffee shop so they can have that work experience.
Yes.
Right now, I'm focused on getting ready for my trip to Iceland at the beginning of July. Yes.
Iceland bound.
Yes, so hopefully I'll have some good stories and bring back some books about women from Iceland.
Please.
Yes.
Yes. I want to read all of the things. I don't even care if they're in English. I'm just saying. I'm so excited. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. And she's feeling good. It's Rebecca Burfinger is back. What is new with you, Rebecca?
So as far as new things, I've been teaching a First Amendment class, so that's been really interesting and exciting.
Sweet.
As my summer, project. It's not really a project, it's a job, but whatever. And I'm also a lawyer, still trying to get more creative clients in my roster, and I'm still freelance writing, so doing all my fun, crazy stuff. And July is a landmark birthday for me, so it's going to be a really interesting, exciting month. I say sort of sarcastically, but yeah.
Interesting
adulthood.
in all the right. Yeah, there you go. Interesting adulting type ways. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Any special birthday plans?
My sister's coming to town and planning a party for me.
Nice.
Ooh,
So-
party.
So that'll be interesting. We don't know where yet or exactly when.
Very cool.
It shall be awesome. I
It'll be
dig
good.
it. I love it. Yay! Well, as for me, I am Dr. Leah Leach. I am the executive director of Gals Guide. And can I just say that I absolutely love being around all of the new books that are in the library. So a little behind the scenes for our listeners. We record in our temporary library location, and we are raising funds for a small but mighty public space. And we are surrounded by books here in the temporary space. And there's just a few more this month than there was last time. There's about 200 more books, actually, within this month. And that is thanks to a grant from Open Meadows to build our women's history book collection. So it's super awesome. We absolutely love book hunting. But also, we can use these books for our future One Cool Things. So that's what's really, really neat about it. So, okay. This month, though, is Music Month. So get ready to pour some lemonade and express yourself and get that RESPECT. And don't give a damn about my bad reputation because the stage is set and the crowd is on its feet. And who's going to be first on the bill? Dun, 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 dun. I think it's Bonnie. Bonnie's like, I'm going first this month. And I'm like, yes, please. Absolutely.
Well, my lady is going to be Dusty Springfield.
Ooh.
So I grew up on Oldies and Queen. So I love
Yes.
Dusty. And last year when I was working on my women's history calendar, I was researching LGBTQ women
Yes.
for June, and Dusty's name came up. And I was like,
Which I had
Dusty?
Yeah, I had no idea. That's awesome.
I had no idea. So I was like, well, I'll have to research more about her later because I didn't know much about her. I knew her music. So I'm like, I'll do Dusty.
Yes.
So she was born Mary Isabel Catherine Bernadette O'Brien on July 2nd, which when this comes out should be tomorrow.
Yay! So let me guess, is she Catholic with that many names?
She's
I'm just
Catholic.
wondering.
She's
Okay,
Catholic,
all right.
and she was raised in the UK, which is mostly Protestant, and she went to like a Catholic nun school.
Interesting. I didn't want to stereotype, but I mean, when you got 7 names.
Yeah.
Well, there's maybe like the confirmed name and like all
Yes,
these
true.
extra your name. I don't know.
You add in family members as
Yeah.
paying homage. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
She had Irish parents, and they fought a lot and often had like food fights. Like it would be on a regular basis. They would throw like plates of food at each other because they were mad, and they would often find like old food that they'd be cleaning out later
God.
that had fallen into cracks and crevices.
Sweet. That's from the last fight of of
Yeah.
April. Woo!
Is this new goals?
Food fight. Oh wait.
Both of her parents loved music, but they were both like they didn't really like each other.
Oh, okay.
She said later
Sucks.
that she felt like she was both like abused and neglected as a child.
Aw.
Her mother was very unhappy with their marriage, and she discouraged Dusty from ever getting married.
Did you
Just
really?
like that's nice to tell your young child.
Right. I mean, she's trying. She's just like, I don't know a way out of this, so just don't.
She had an older brother, Dion, and she was always in competition with him. And she said, the feelings of inadequacy followed me through my life. Now I'm grateful to my brother because it was always he who unwittingly started me off singing. I started because he started, and I wanted to be better than him at something.
You know what? That's beautiful. That's a healthy
Kinda cute.
competition between siblings.
Mhm.
That's kind of like negative and positive at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like that.
She told a nun teacher, I'm not sure what you call those,
Sisters?
sister, my teacher lady,
Sure.
that
Captain, my
she
captain.
wanted to be a blues singer
Yes.
in 1950. She knew at a young age that she was attracted to girls and even had a crush on one of her teachers.
Ah, wait, a sister?
A sister
Oh,
in the Catholic school.
That's gonna mess you up
Yeah.
psychologically, having a crush on a nun, because,
She was heavily influenced by the Motown sound and ladies like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes, I love those ladies.
When she was like 17, she came up as Dusty as a persona.
Ah.
She was like very much like two separate people. Like she was Dusty on stage, and then she was like the very quiet Mary O'Brien in a private life.
That's nice.
She joined the Lana Sisters group, and after leaving them, she joined a group with her brother, Tom, who was going by Tom Springfield.
Oh.
I don't know where they got the name Springfield because there were so many Springfields in the U.S., so they were
they wanted
like,
to sound like an American
yeah,
name.
I didn't know she was British
I had
until
no-
I started doing this. I thought
No
she was an
idea.
American lady,
Mhm.
which is apparently was like a thing back in the day. No one knew she was from the UK. They all thought she was
Yeah.
American.
So, Bonnie, I don't know much about Dusty. What was her stage presence like?
She had a big blonde wig. It was like a beehive and like dark, like black eyeshadow. They were calling it like the panda look or something.
Oh, the panda look.
And I'll have to post a picture when she's in the Springfield. She has this very weird skirt. It just comes out like there's got to be a tutu under there. It just goes straight out and then down.
It's like an upside down umbrella
it's
sort of
weird.
thing.
And it's
It's
like
magical.
knee height, and it's just it goes poof out. But later when she's on her own, she's having like elegant like not nightgowns, dressing
Oh,
gowns,
like cocktail dresses and stuff.
like long flowy dresses. But she still has that wig. And the other guy that was in the Springfield, it was Tom, her brother, and this other guy and her. They would share a mic. And he said he would get close to her to share the mic, and her hair smelled because she didn't want to wash it because she had like combed it back and put so much hairspray in it. It was kind of smelly.
Because when you comb back, it's better the second day because you can add more hairspray to it. It's what is it? Also, they say the higher the hair, the closer to God, or something like that. Whatever the Southern saying is.
So, was she really like bold and loud and on stage?
Not really. I mean, she has this like kind of like sorrowful voice. It's very like a low tone. She has this unique mixture where people didn't know where to place her, where she was folk or country
I can
or
see
rock or R&B. She kind of fits in everywhere.
That's cool.
Because what was her main song?
Son of a Preacher Man is one of the ones she's
Do you
known
remember
for.
that song?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's her main gig. Yeah.
Wishin' and
Yeah.
Hopin. I
Yeah.
Only Want to Be With
And
You. She had a whole bunch. And back in the day, they
Gotcha.
like, all like sing each other's songs.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She didn't write any of her
I
songs.
was gonna say, like, who was her main writer?
I think she
Whoever.
just went to like the studio and they like sounded like they just came up with a pile of records that other people had already recorded and like
That
picked
the studio
songs
owned.
for her
Yeah.
to do.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And then she would, like, one guy, I guess, even tricked her, like, he had a pile of, like, over 100 records. Listened to them all. She's like, I hit them all. And then he spent the night and he picked 15. And the next day she was like, oh, yeah, I like those.
You figured out her taste. Yes. Because that's the interesting thing. I've heard so many different people sing Son of a Preacher Man, and I've heard so many different people sing Wishin' and Hopin. So that makes sense. She was part of a, collective of, we all sing these standards.
It was funny. It popped up on The Office. There's an episode
Did it really?
where the Michael's baby mama, what's her name? Jan? I think it's Jan. She brings her baby like after she given birth, and she's singing "Son of a Preacher Man" to her baby, and someone's like, "I'm not sure if that's appropriate. That's a song about losing your virginity,
Yeah,
like
kinda.
behind a church,
Right.
and you're just singing it to your baby."
It happened. I mostly remember that song from Pulp Fiction, but it's the
Yeah.
Neil Diamond version, I think.
It was on there. It's
Yeah.
That was like the only like.
wait, no, not Neil Diamond.
It was her. It's on
Neil-
there.
it
It's
was
like the
the-
only.
You're thinking "Girl, You'll Be a Woman" soon.
I am thinking
Which
"Girl,
was
You'll Be a
the
Woman
Urge
Soon."
Overkill, I think.
Urge
Version
over. Yes, that's what
of
I was
the Neil
thinking.
Diamond song.
Yes, never mind.
We
Oh
have to
wow.
fact check all that to make sure
But
right.
that's a lot of crossing streams, is what I just did. I went from Dusty Springfield to Neil Diamond to Urge Overkill to Pulp Fiction.
But it
wow,
was her.
good follow
she's-
along.
But it
Son
was
of a
her-
Preacher Man is
it was her
on
album.
Pulp Fiction, and that was like the only
Right.
like platinum award or whatever she
Ah.
got was because it was on there.
Huh, amazing.
She had a whole bunch of hits in America before the Beatles.
Okay.
They were kind of all about the same time.
That
With the
64-ish.
Springfields, yeah. Silver Threads and Golden Needles with the Springfields was the first British group to hit the top 10 in America in 1962.
Ooh, 62. I like it. Neat.
She was like a perfectionist when she would record things. She would record things like word by word or line by line and redo them over and over. She had the song recorded first, and she would like interact with the musicians. Like she knew what she wanted to sound like, but she wasn't musically trained, so she didn't quite know how to like communicate.
So it was a lot of
like
trial
this-
and error,
This
kind of.
new sound that she wanted.
Ah.
But they would record the music first, and then she would be meticulous about getting the vocals like she was a perfectionist. And it drove people nuts.
It does drive people nuts, but I kind of appreciate it because I can, you know what I mean? I don't know. For some odd reason, you can see it, you can hear it, you can be like, no, they really cared about this.
And she eventually went solo after the Springfields. They just kind of like her and her brother just like decided in like a conversation, we're just gonna stop now. And then like later they
Sounds
told
about
the dude, and I was like, okay. The other guy,
He's probably saw it
I was like, all right. But there's an interview from that she did with the Beatles in between after she left the Springfields and right before she went solo. It's on YouTube where she's like asking questions of the Beatles, and she's like
Ooh.
teasing John about like scabs on the side of his face.
Weird,
Like
but
it's very weird.
I like
I'm
it.
like still trying to figure out what's up with that.
Interacting with John Lennon in any way, shape, or fashion, I approve.
Yeah, she's talking to Paul McCartney and John Lennon and interviewing them. I think.
Did
like,
she
in
leave
between
like George
songs.
alone? Because George seems to always have been
I
left
don't think
alone.
you see the other two on the tape at all.
Okay, all right, there we go.
She's like asking questions that these screaming fangirls have asked
Right.
her to ask the Beatles.
The
and
burning
they're just, like,
questions of
screaming after each
Teenage
thing.
dreams.
I Only Want to Be With You was her second single,
Nice.
and she refused to like sing it later.
Huh.
She also stopped singing Wishin' and Hopin' because of the sexist lyrics.
Oh.
They're pretty much like,
Yeah.
it's a song about a girl likes a guy, and she's kind of like doing everything she can to be with him. So that she would sing it later as a joke and change the lyrics.
Oh, nice. I like that.
She went on tour in South Africa during the apartheid,
Ooh.
and British groups had gone and they had signed a contract that they would sing to segregated crowds. She refused to sing to a segregated crowd and she was deported.
Really?
She got kicked out, and I guess it was a big pain in the butt for other British groups later.
Was it because she was for integration?
She was like, she loved Motown, and she loved these people, and she was like, this is ridiculous. I'm here to sing music. You
shouldn't
pay
be
for
separated
tickets.
by race. Yeah.
You should get to hear me sing. Like, there's no reason for this.
Josephine Baker did the same thing. She would refuse to sing to segregated crowds. Yeah. Love it or hate it, it's a stance.
Yeah, after she got home to the UK, she said, I just think that people should be allowed to hear me sing irrespective of color, creed, or religion.
Aw. Good job, Dusty.
And then her records were bound in South Africa for decades.
Oh, no. Well, you know. Oh, apartheid.
They took it seriously.
They really did, didn't they? Oh, my gosh.
But she kept her plate and crockery throwing from her parents her whole life. She would often get upset and just throw things around. She would always pick up after herself.
Sweet.
But, yeah, I guess Stanley Drake was rude to waitstaff, so she threw a tart at him across the room. She missed him. So later that night, she had one in her hand, and she went to, like, shake his hand and had the tart in there.
Food and plates were her weapon.
In 1966, she achieved more hit records than any other artist. She had several relationships with women throughout her whole life. She had said in an interview, where was it, that she's perfectly capable of being swayed by a girl as well as by a boy. But I think she had like one night stands with men, but I haven't read anything yet where she had a relationship with a man.
Gotcha.
So I think she leaned more towards the ladies.
Nothing wrong with that.
She moved into a house with Norma Tangia, and was also at the same time in a relationship with American folk singer Julie Felix.
I don't know a Julie Felix. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, you said American folk singer, and I'm like, is it Joan Baez? That's what I was waiting for.
There's so many like name drops in this book. Like at some point, she's performing a concert, and Princess Margaret's there.
Oh, hey.
She's friends with Billie Jean King.
Sweet.
She's neighbors with Lillian Tomlin at one point.
Huh.
It's just she knows everybody.
Yeah.
It's nuts. She started taking Mandrax. It's a downer that doesn't mix well with alcohol. So you know what she did?
Oh no, she
would drink alcohol.
Yeah.
And she would drink so much, they would call her doctor, who would come by and give her a shot to calm her down. And science has later found out that it's a bad effect with people with bipolar disorder, and they think that she maybe had that.
Gotcha.
Especially since she's like throwing plates around like it's normal.
Right. And if it's, exactly. If it's kind of like a manic state sort of thing. Yeah, it makes sense. I got experience with
And
that.
self-medicating
Right.
doesn't help at all.
Well, I think a part of it was just her being raised Catholic and dealing with her wanting to be with women.
Right.
And part of it's just wanting to be so much of a perfectionist and having like anxiety over it. Like I'm sure she had all kinds of just issues.
Right. Which, and that's always the ironicness, is that it helps your music and then it hurts your life, or it can hurt your career. And it's like, oh man, it's that balance of it sort of thing. Yeah.
She was bad at managing her money. They said that she would record her finances on tape and send them to her accountant.
Oh.
So I thought she didn't write them down. She like had a tape recorder or whatever.
See, I think that's kind of brilliant though, because at least she's got something.
She's got a system.
She's got a system, and she's got another person who's responsible for keeping track of that.
She's
stuff.
doing what she's got to do. Then.
Yeah, if that's her, if that's what works for her. Great.
One lady she was with just made a comment one night that she liked to pool. So like 3 days later, she took her on a drive. She had bought her a house with a pool.
Oh.
So that's like, she's just like, I'm just going to drop money.
Right. So she's a little frivolous. So she's keeping track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm just going to buy you a house because you said you liked to pool.
Sweet. Hey, Dusty's no longer with us, right? Because we want to build a library. And, okay, all right. Yeah, I'm trying to. I was thinking of using that power for good instead of evil, but no.
She filmed several TV series with the BBC and the ATV, which featured her and other singers performing. Like Jimi Hendrix was on it at one point.
Really? Ooh.
It's like, I think, like a little rock and roll hour kind of a thing.
Like a Dick Clark sort of bandstand or something like that. Ooh, neat.
It would take her like hours to get into her makeup. Part of it was because she was nearsighted or she couldn't see beyond like 2 feet.
Oh no.
So all these like
the panda eyes are difficult.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering if maybe that's what happened to start that.
It was just easier to be like, here we go.
I think part
she
of it
messed
was
it up, so it's just more of it.
Showing up well on TV, I think, was part of it, but
right.
She said that she looked like Burt Lancaster without her hair and makeup.
Oh no. I don't know if that's so much a compliment. There are some people that are like, ooh, Burt Lancaster, but I'm like, on a woman? That's a tough
I
one.
think in the beginning it was her actual hair, but later she had like 3 different wigs and she had names for them.
Oh no. Sweet.
She eventually recorded in Memphis, which is like her big thing, and she said it was like a place where a bunch of other hit singers had been and recorded.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she said, I hated it because I couldn't be Aretha Franklin. If people like Jerry Wexler could realize what a deflating thing it is to say Otis Redding stood there, or that's where Aretha sang, whatever you do, it's not going to be good enough.
Oh.
And it added to the natural critic in me. It was a paralyzing experience.
Yeah, I can see that. That is really tough, because if it's like, yeah, if you really, really want to be as good as your icon and then you're in that same spot as them, it's... Some people, like, rise to that challenge of, like, no, but you have to be a little bit of a narcissist, I think, to, like, oh, no, I'm totally going to be as good as Aretha Franklin. It's like, step back.
And she's a woman, and women tend to be, like, not as nice to themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, the first
I'm
idea
sure
is, like...
she didn't look like Burt Lancaster without her hair and makeup. I'm sure she wouldn't be as famous and popular.
Right.
There's not enough makeup that would make Burt Lancaster look like Dusty
Look as
Springfield.
fabulous as Dusty Springfield. Yes, exactly. Trues.
Dusty had hoped that LA would be more tolerant and open than London. The reverse was true. Hollywood was even more closeted. Dusty later told Gay News, there is a very strong anti-gay feeling in Hollywood, which is extraordinary in an industry which is 75% gay.
Yeah.
You could sit around at a dinner table with 8 other gay people and no one would admit it. Being gay was a career poison.
Aww.
So she thought it was like really weird. Everyone's gay, but no one wants to talk about it.
Irony. And we're talking like 60s and 70s
like
in
a
her
big
heyday
thing
sort of
was,
thing.
yeah, like 64 to 69, but she did some stuff during the 70s, but it didn't do so good.
Yeah.
And then she had some kind of a return in the 80s with a band called the Pet Shop Boys.
Yes, I love
They
the
had
Pet
like
Shop
a
Boys.
song or an album or something where she's featured in there.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I don't know all that much about the Pet Shop Boys. I'm like trying to think of the 2 songs that I know, but that's cool. I'm gonna have to investigate further. I see Rebecca's face like thinking. No, okay, gotcha. I thought you were like I'm going through the Pet Shop Boys album in my head.
Yeah, during the 70s, she does like a whole bunch of like background vocals for people and stuff. And I'm not sure if it's the one that finally made it on there, but Elton John was set to record Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Dusty, and it got withdrawn, and he went with Kiki Dee instead.
Oh, that was going to be Dusty,
Yeah.
though. Interesting.
Which would have been really... I really hope there's a song out there with Dusty and Elton John. That'd be great.
Aww.
She was offered Killing Me Softly, and she didn't do it, and nobody does it better for a Bond movie. For The Spy Who Loved Me, but she didn't do it.
Yeah.
This was the
That's
one
a
that
good song,
I need
though.
to confirm if she's on it or not. Backup vocals on Elton John's The Bitch Is Back and Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. I need to look into the things to see
may
if
or may not.
They recorded it. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
yeah.
if that's the one that they went with.
Interesting.
Did she say why she turned down those songs?
I think she was like really picky about the songs that she did.
She just wasn't feeling it.
But she would have killed it for Killing Me Softly.
Oh,
That was great.
absolutely.
Her like soft, sad sound, that would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
She should have been credited as a producer on her early albums because she like did like a lot of the work. But she chose not to because that was like a career-ending move back in the day. Is it was part of the Dusty persona. It's like she's just a singer. You know,
that was the brand they were trying to
like,
make for
women back in the day. They had no like input. They were just here sing the song.
Right.
Like,
it was that unfortunate thing of, feel like you're lucky enough for this opportunity, and it's like,
well, they weren't like I might go into mine a little bit, but I was listening to a podcast on the way over about my person, and they were saying that like even in like the mid 60s, like women weren't even playing instruments.
Right. Yeah, you were
like that was the
big, singer.
Like
yeah.
if you were, it wasn't like you wouldn't have been like on stage doing it. I guess I don't know if they even had studio musicians playing like that were women. So I was surprised to hear that. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. That
your very few exceptions are like Joan Baez, and that's only because it's like folk singing, and it's usually like you and a guitar, and sometimes there's no other band, so it's like
Right.
But other than that, no, you have a tambourine if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Aww.
She had a relationship with a lady named Cameron. I don't remember that's her first or last name.
Right.
But she was with her for a few years, and she was like a very nice, calming force in her life.
Cool.
She ended up, when they would get home at night, they would always waltz every night before dinner.
Aww.
And they had a little, there was some lady, like J. Avery.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But they would say her name, and that was like code for I love you.
Aww.
And later took her on like a surprise date to the Hollywood, the Chinese theater with the hemp prints.
Yes.
And to see her little star there.
Nice.
They went home to Ireland to meet her parents at Christmas, which I guess was like crazy.
Well,
for the other
they're
lady.
throwing things. So.
Yeah, she was not used to that. But I guess on that trip for New Year's, they went down to Italy, and she got her into, there's like some part of the Vatican. I don't know if it's just Dusty got the special tour or whatever. But
she was a son of a preacher man. I'm just kidding. Sorry. I just had to throw that in there.
To a special, like, I guess, stairway that you can see, like, all of Rome. And she, like, proposed to her there. At this, they watched, like, the sunrise of the new year.
Aww.
It was very cute.
That is lovely.
About when was that? Do you know?
That would have been
Or,
in,
decade?
like...
I know, right? 70s,
Yeah,
80s.
probably early 70s.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Aww.
She got breast cancer in 94. She
Oof.
found a lump, and it was gone for a few years, and then it came back. And then they were talking to one person on the interview I was listening to at YouTube. Like, she told her friend, but she was like, you can't tell anyone. So she was sitting on it for like a year that it had come back.
Oh, no.
But she died in 94. She was supposed to get I think it's called an OBE from the Queen.
Oh.
I guess it's some kind of
Knighting
I don't know if it's a knighting.
Well, because she's Irish, right? Yeah. Well, no, she's British, yeah. So she
Yeah.
could be knighted, yeah.
But she was supposed. It was like she died on the day she was supposed to get it from the Queen.
Oh.
But they knew she was sick, and they sent it to her early in the hospital.
Gotcha.
And I guess she was like, at first she said like, "Oh, the ribbon's tattered."
Oh, it's the pin. Okay, gotcha. It's the pin thing. Yeah, exactly. Oh.
At first she was like, "It's tattered,"
It's
and then like a couple minutes later, she was like, I guess going around the hospital showing everyone her little award.
Well, yeah, like you do. Oh, okay. She got it before she left this mortal coral.
And there was a quote she said that my sexuality has never been a problem to me, but I think it has been for other people.
Oh, but that's good. It wasn't a problem for her.
Yeah. Another artist gave her a T-shirt that she often wore to bed and said, "This is no ordinary housewife you're dealing with."
Nice.
And there's supposed to be a biopic of her in the fall of 2019
Ooh.
with Gemma Arteron as
Okay.
Dusty, called So Much Love. I haven't
Oh.
seen it like listed on IMDb yet.
Okay.
And there were some old news articles from about 2013 rumoring that Adele was going to be Dusty in a biopic.
Oh my
But
god.
I'm guessing if that was going to happen, it would have happened.
We probably would have heard about something, but that would be fantastic.
With you got the Queen biopic and Elton John. It would
Right.
be great to have Dusty too.
Oh yeah.
For
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Oh my gosh. I hope that happens. Even if it's just, if the reason why it's not on IMDb because it's like a BBC, you know what I mean, made for BBC document or movie sort of thing.
Mhm.
Be like, I'd be down with that. I will watch that.
That's all I got on Dusty. There's a really good documentary on YouTube. If you just type in Dusty Springfield documentary, it comes up. And then I've been reading a book that's just called Dusty.
Dusty. Is it a memoir or is it about her?
It's, I think, a person interviewed a whole bunch of people in her life.
Gotcha.
Is what it sounded like. It's an intimate portrait of a musical legend.
Aw.
By Karen Bartlett.
Awesome.
It's about 300 pages long.
Look at that. A glorious dustiness. Sweet. So, okay, you hadn't heard of her, but you heard of the song before?
Yeah.
See, there
yeah.
you go. You're
I'd
like,
heard
now
of
I
the
know what you're
songs.
talking.
I'm not good at remembering names of groups, names of people, and songs, but
There's a lot. It's kind of like
I don't have the
movie
the brain
knowledge as
for
well.
it.
Yeah,
Not a good trivia brain, really, but that's really fascinating to me that she was such a perfectionist, because when I think of the songs,
yeah.
it's just, I don't know, it seems like more passion, and it doesn't seem like it was meticulously thought out, but it sounds like her passion was the backing to what made her such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So, if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes
Okay,
sense.
good.
Exactly. And Rebecca, you had heard of her before, right?
Yeah, I'd heard of her.
Let's see.
It took me a minute to remember.
Like face to name to song
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about, like, I didn't know she was from London. I didn't know about her past. So
Yeah.
that was
I
fascinating.
think I knew she was maybe British, but I didn't know like her whole story.
Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week as our next gal pal shares her one cool thing as Gal's Guide to the Galaxy podcast continues. Thanks for listening. For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gal's Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.